Welcome back for day 2 of our sessions here at PDMI East. I'm Thomas Haire, the Chief Content Officer of the PDMI. We're very thankful that all of you are here at the Eden Rock this week. We appreciate everyone coming out and taking part in what's been a great show so far. We've been very happy with a lot of the outcomes. We've heard a lot of positive feedback, and we're taking all kinds of feedback because the only way we get better is if we hear from you. So please feel free, stop us, say hi. Get with us. Let's talk about how this show's gone for you. We want to make sure that every show is better than the last, so we appreciate it. We have to say thank you to our 130 member companies, our 30 plus sponsoring companies of this event. We could not make this happen without you. Could not make it happen without every person here who's bought a badge. You know, the support of being here and taking part in everything that's happening is incredibly important to the continued success of our show. So thank you. We appreciate it very much. We also would like to thank our sponsor, Blue Water, sponsor of the educational sessions. Blue Water, this is their 3rd show sponsoring our educational sessions, and we really appreciate the support. I'm being told to hold before I play the video. They have a video that they prepare, they have different videos for every session, and we're going to take a look at that now.
I'm incredibly proud to be the official protein bar of NASCAR.
Are you looking for an on-the-go travel
I feel like
snack?
I'm yourself. Lipazine works.
Get yours
It really
today.
works.
It's better on a Blackstone.
Today's session, we're very excited to have this session set up for today. It was pulled together over the last 3 or 4 months, a case study on CTV and how brands are exploring it. We're very lucky to have Samsung Ads with us today, as well as Southern New Hampshire University, willing to talk and share about how things are working for them, what they'd like to see more of, and so forth. So got just right here is Dan Grskovic from Samsung Ads and Matt Laramee from Southern New Hampshire. I'll let them introduce themselves. Dan.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. I'm from Samsung Ads, based out of New York. Been with the company 3 years now. Been in the industry about 15 years. Started with Fox Cable Networks and then NBC, where I worked on the linear side, mostly on a lot of sports networks before coming over to Samsung. I'm excited to be here.
Matt Laramee, I'm the Senior Media Director for Mass Media at Southern New Hampshire University. I've been there for almost 6 years now, and then in the industry for over 10, and really have played across the linear as well as CTV space for that time period, and really been in CTV for the last 5 or 6 years heavily, and also exploring a lot of audio and podcasting and things of that nature to expand our reach.
Great, great. Welcome to you both. Thank you again for being here. We appreciate it. Get started with a question for you, Matt. When you started working with Samsung, what were your expected KPIs? Did you have any must-haves when you got started?
Really, the biggest piece for us was our attribution partner, Innovid, and being able to pull in that response data as we placed our ads with Samsung, and leveraging that data to view our cost per response. So essentially, someone visiting our website and how that baked out against the spend and the number of responses. In addition to that, Samsung has automated content recognition, which was really allowing us to see what we were doing incrementally against linear within the CTV space, and what audiences we were achieving at that point. And then within that, Innovid also provides additional reach and frequency. And the great thing is Samsung does a wonderful job of setting frequency caps for us and really helping us look for areas that we can expand that reach.
Yeah, great. I mean, now that you've been in there for a while, have you seen changes to what your KPIs are, or are they really solidified for you?
I think a lot of it was solidified, and understanding that the data was solid when we first started out with the initial audiences that we rolled out into the marketplace. We've been able to expand audiences with Samsung and really develop where we can influence and make the most success for our campaign and drive the most response, and pull those levers on a monthly basis to reallocate budgets to different audiences based on the data.
Great, great. Dan, I think you're probably used to this. The questions you most hear about creating and activating a performance or D2C campaign in CTV are usually around 2 topics, cost and scale. what about those concerns? And do you have any examples of the work you've done with Southern New Hampshire to kind of overcome those ideas?
Yeah, both are definitely genuine concerns for any campaign. Scale, a little bit less so at this point. You know, when I first started in the CTV space, it was something we definitely took a look at with every campaign, especially when you're getting down with more granular targeting, you know, 1 or 2 DMAs. We want to make sure we can deliver for a campaign. But at this point, we've seen viewership grow so much that scale isn't as much of a concern for us. So we can really handle budgets as large as a client can bring them to us. Cost, always a concern, right? Especially in performance advertising. Want to make sure we remain efficient for our clients. We're able to help meet campaign KPIs for SNHU. So it's always a consideration we have. We want to make sure, you know, we're meeting the mark when it comes to the marketplace, especially with linear CPMs dropping a little bit. Plenty of competition in the streaming space. But we want to also make sure we're upholding Samsung's value in this space, right? We consider ourselves a premium publisher. We're the largest TV manufacturer in the US, so we want to make sure we reflect that on what we're offering to our clients. But coming into this year, we wanted to make sure we stayed aligned with match KPIs, so we work with our finance team to get them a little bit lower price points so they can continue to invest with us, add audiences that they're targeting, and deliver on those KPIs.
Makes sense, makes sense. This one's kind of for both of you. Targeting strategies for prospective students. Maybe I'll start with you first, Dan. How is Samsung's CTV platform able to leverage deterministic data and audience profiling to target specific demos?
Yeah, it's plenty of data for us to leverage at this point, right? We have a huge TV footprint in the U.S. We're in over 55 million households, over 72 million TVs in the marketplace. And as Matt mentioned before, with our automatic content recognition, we're able to glean insights from what people are watching on their TVs to inform our targeting. And we're also able to pair that with the mobile data from our Samsung Galaxy mobile devices and help reach those targets. It can get a little bit tough when you're getting down to a granular level with some of Matt's targets like military personnel or something like that. But if the data isn't there for us to really reach those people, we can get a little bit more broad with it. So if Matt informs me that maybe, you know, news or history programming pops with that audience, then we can just genre target and hopefully create some efficiencies that way while not adding any cost to the campaign.
Yeah, Matt, how are you kind of tackling that? You know, from your perspective?
Sure. So really, when we initially started, it was a broad audience approach, really focusing in on a general age group of 18 to 34. We've now expanded as well to 35 to 49, though with that, as Dan mentioned, for our military campaigns as well as graduate campaigns, where we can really target deeply with Samsung and find the right audiences that are most likely to respond to our creative. And I think that's the most critical piece, is finding the right audience that makes most sense for your business and identifying that. While still keeping in mind a broad approach can be very effective, and it's really layering those things in and drilling down so you can gain more data and then apply that going forward.
Yeah, makes sense. So you brought us a couple of these spots. One's for 1834, one's for 3549. You want to take a look at those now, and then we'll talk a little bit about them?
That'd be great.
All right.
I earned my degree online at Southern New Hampshire University.
It's possible to raise a family, to pursue other things, and still further your education.
And you can do it too, from all over the country.
I live in Massachusetts.
I live in Texas.
I live in California.
I live in Pennsylvania.
I'm from Florida.
I'm from Virginia.
In North Carolina. And St. Louis.
I'm from Tennessee.
And I'm from Georgia.
Regardless of where you live across the country, earn your degree at SNHU.
Visit snhu.edu.
All right, so that's our 18 to 34, and then we'll take a quick look at the 35 to 49.
Southern New Hampshire University makes it possible for working adults and parents to accomplish their dreams.
We are thrilled to be celebrating our graduates.
SNHU, it's worth it in more ways than you can probably even imagine.
As you start that momentum and get that first class going, the rest just really falls into place.
For anyone that feels like college is impossible, I was right there with you. But I can say today that it is possible because of SNHU.
Go to snhu.edu to get started.
So, you know, obviously slight differences. We saw the immediate gray beard and the children in the 35 to 49. Can you dig in a little bit about how each of these are working in Samsung's platform?
Of course. So as we look at these creatives, it's really understanding the audiences very well and what life stages they're currently in and the approach that they may be taking to their higher education. and putting things that are relevant to them within the creative. For example, our 18 to 34 may lean a bit more into affordability as people are looking to upskill their career and may not necessarily yet be at that point where they're thinking, oh, education is just something that I can easily do because I've got a nice large bank account at this point, and they're really thinking, want to refine my career. And then the 35 to 49, as Tom noted, we do have those audiences that skew a little bit more like myself. And with that, finding the value props that really resonate with them to hammer home the CTA at the end of the creative and drive that response.
Yep, great. You're also using interactive ad formats, QR codes, clickable overlays, things like that. How are these engaging viewers and driving immediate action response, and how are they helping drive prospective students for the sales funnel?
Well, with the QR codes, we still see the lion's share of our lead volume coming through our general website, and the QR codes are, to me, the old 800 number. We can absolutely include a unique QR code on each publisher, each media outlet, and even down to the creative length. And with that, we can see exactly what response is coming through, follow those leads through the funnel, and see how they turn into enrollments for each one of the publisher, and really look at the lifetime value that's offered by the publishers. And that has been extremely valuable. And with that, too, we can then also see the geolocations with the QR codes flowing in. And we've had a great partnership with Flowcode, being able to allow us to gain that information, those insights. One thing I do want to caution with QR codes, make sure you hit statistical significance with your spend. Don't make knee-jerk moves too early because you want to get enough data to be able to apply that going forward and really look at the cost per lead and the overall lifetime value, as I mentioned.
Yeah. Obviously, Dan, you on your side of things, they're using flow codes, but you guys have your own QR code perspective as well. Can you tackle that a little bit?
Yeah, I want to make sure our ads have that interactive element to them to keep our viewers engaged and leaned in, give them an opportunity to not just look at their phone and run to the bathroom during a commercial break. So obviously, you know, agencies, media partners can get the QR codes on their creative on their own, but we offer that service as well. And what we do is include it as a background overlay. This way it runs alongside the creative. It's on the screen the entire time, and it's large enough that people can't miss it, right? Really give them the opportunity to get their phone out and scan the code. It's hard to do when it just pops up on the screen for a second, especially for those older viewers, right, who may be not as tech savvy or quick to pull their phone out and know exactly what to do with it. And I think it's a great replacement for the 1-800 number at this point. You know, especially in CTV, you know, while we do have campaigns that utilize 1-800 numbers, they may not perform as well as we see a URL. And I think this is a great bridge for that gap to get people to interact with the ad and still get the information they need.
Any specific types of advertisers, verticals or anything that are using this? I mean, obviously you have Jack in the Box as an example here, so quick serve restaurant. Anyone that's particularly having success?
Higher education, obviously. I think kind of runs the gamut. You know, retailers, again, you can scan the code and have a whole product scroll pop up on your phone. So you're not only driving to website, but we can do some additional things with it. So you can search by geolocation once you scan the code, or scan through products that they have available. So the client can determine the landing page, and it just doesn't have to drive to a home page.
Mm-hmm. So obviously we're touching here on some attribution things. And obviously attribution has been considered tricky by performance brands and CTV from the get-go. What else are you guys doing to answer some of those questions for folks like SNHU?
Attribution can continue to be tricky, right? Especially in CTV. We're not sure exactly when a spot is going to run. We're not providing pre or post logs. So it's a little bit blind in terms of that. But at Samsung, at least, we've developed conversion reporting that can help with attribution. So it does require us to append a pixel to a client site, or if it's, you know, an app-based campaign, we can share data via their MMP. But we can use that reporting as long as we understand the campaign KPIs, what they consider a conversion event, to share those insights with the client, because we'll understand when those conversions are happening, as well as get some insights, including, you know, geolocation, device being used, and so on.
Yeah, can I go to you on that, Matt? Like, what are you guys using that they're offering?
Really, since we are in-house, we are still leveraging Innovid, and really with that, it gives us, while we have Samsung as one of our primary partners, We do have several other publishers within our campaign, so it does give us a full scope of cross-screen measurement across all of our CTV partners as well as our linear partners to better understand where exactly the response is coming from. And then in addition to that, we're able to then see the reach and frequency and what incremental reach we're receiving from each publisher and what overlap may be occurring. The great thing is with our current plan, we're seeing about 8% overlap of our linear to CTV. So they are both very unique audiences, and it's very good to create that cross-screen reach.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is just a part of your multi-channel campaign. What, like, if you could pick out one or two major differences from what you're doing on CTV versus linear or versus online, what would they be?
Of course. So with CTV, we're honing in on the specific audience, understanding that's a one-to-one delivery to the household that has that audience in the household. With linear television, while we plan to an audience CPM, we also understand that it's still a mass media opportunity for us where there's additional eyeballs still tuning in outside of the audience that we're planning to. And the real benefit of having that two-pronged approach for us is we know we're getting the CTV audience, but we're also inherently getting the additional audience within linear that may be an influencer to those that are considering responding. So, for example, if Dan were to say, hey, Mom, I'm thinking about going for my graduate degree, she may say, you know what, I've seen SNHU on television, and they're a very reputable brand. I think you should seek that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Back to you again, Matt. What does Samsung offer you guys as a media outlet that's most valuable to your success at this point? And additionally, what would you like to see that you're maybe not getting yet?
The biggest thing for us is the partnership with Dan and the Samsung team. They've been fantastic working with us and understanding our business. Never just lobbing products up in the air at us, but really refining the opportunities that they're presenting to us that will work best for our business. And we've tested and failed at certain things, but that's the endeavor that we all have to go into because that's how we learn. And with that, I really think Samsung is so forward-thinking, it's difficult to find something that they don't offer right now. And they're usually first to entry in the marketplace with new products. And Dan and I meet at least quarterly to review the new stable products that they have coming out. And he also gains consumer feedback from us as well, from the product end, where we as the buy side can help refine what they're doing as well and what really works best for a performance brand.
I think, too, I'm going to follow a quick thread here that you brought up a minute ago. The mobile aspect of what Samsung offers, I think a lot of times people forget, the sheer numbers of phones out there. Can you talk a little bit about the value of that to your client base as well?
Yeah, huge opportunity for us, right? The data is one thing, but with so many campaigns relying on an app at this point, our products team has been hard at work building these tools for us, and one of them is mobile to TV conversion. So we're working on making sure we can close that gap, drive people from their TV to their mobile phone to convert on a given KPI, while proving those touch points and giving attribution back to Samsung that we're driving those results. Yeah. So it's a great opportunity. Like you said, no shortage of phones out there, even more so than TVs in the marketplace. So we're trying to take advantage of that and put those tools together to help our campaigns grow.
Great. Let's kind of keep going here. What should any performance brand out there that's interested in testing your advertising options know prior to starting a new campaign? I know we've got a couple of slides here, so we can.
It's really like three things I'll mention here.
Yeah.
Flexibility being the first, inventory diversity being the second, and viewer engagement being the third, right? Flexibility, we want to kind of mirror that experience that a lot of clients have on the linear side in terms of cancellation options, quick turnaround times, and how important it is in the performance space, right? You have incremental budgets pop up in week, you want to be able to place those budgets and clear them. So we worked with our ops teams to convey the importance of this quick turnaround times and getting campaigns up and running for us, as well as making sure our teams still recognize those cancellation options that you guys are used to on the linear side. In terms of inventory diversity, SNHU and Matt leverages our CTV inventory across Samsung TV Plus, our FAST app, but it doesn't start and stop there for us. Our initial form of inventory at Samsung was our first screen ads, right? On older model TVs, we have a lower third bar that pops up on the screen, and it includes a tile ad that sits before any of the third-party apps that are available on the TV. So it's an ad that is reaching people before they make their content decisions in an uncluttered ad environment. And that has evolved over the years as our technology has advanced and our teams have turned what was a lower third bar into the Samsung Smart Hub that you see here. So if anybody in the room has a newer Samsung TV, you'll recognize this. And now we leverage the entire top third part of the TV as a masthead option, while still including those tile ad options. You know, top third is usually reserved for media and entertainment clients, but we wanted to make sure we had options for our performance clients as well, because that does come at a premium CPM. So we've also have a preemptible tile ad option that can run on a rotational basis at a more efficient CPM that closely related to our CTV video CPM. And that's a great option for advertisers. Again, cut through that clutter, hit people as soon as they turn on their TV. And Samsung TV Plus is great, right? We have tens of millions of monthly active users, but this reaches people as soon as they turn on their TV, so you're getting all 130 million people within the Samsung TV ecosystem. So it's exponential reach on top of what you'd see on CTV video.
Right. We'll talk about your sheer numbers, your retention rate.
Yeah, that was the third point, is that viewer engagement, right?
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is that users of our FAST platform really tend to stick with it and lean into it. While a lot of our competitors are battling churn, we have a 92% retention rate after 3 months. So not as much of a concern for us. We have people that are sticking around. We can continue to reach them with consistent messaging, which makes a big difference in campaigns, especially in performance, when you're trying to drill something home and get people to take an action.
Yeah, I mean, churn is obviously cost, scale, churn, probably the biggest issues when people look at doing a CTV campaign. Who are you reaching? How do you know that those numbers are real? And this is obviously a great deal for you guys, the fact that you have this number. We had a story in our newsletter last week about the sheer number of Samsung TVs, and as dongles are going away and people are just buying the smart TVs, your leadership in the space has grown. So you guys are in a great position. Matt, have you done any of the home screen stuff or anything like that yet, or?
We haven't done home screen yet, but we have tested pause ads. We have seen good response with QR codes through the pause ads. The home screen, though, is very intriguing, especially since there's a lot of users that are using non-ad supported streaming apps. So this is a really great touch point where if they're diving into Netflix and they're paying that premium tier and they're never seeing advertising, it's a great way to reach an audience through that home screen.
Yeah, I mean, the pause ads are, I mean, I remember the first time I saw a pause ad, I can't remember which outlet it was on, but it was like, this is tremendous. I mean, you walk away, you come back, and there's an ad right there. It's probably on Amazon Fire TV, I think, but just how effective are those working out for your advertisers?
So within our FAST platform, we don't utilize them since it's a live linear environment. It's in consideration for some of our video on demand stuff, but most of our consumption is via the live linear platform. Right. But we're working on other interactive ad formats to help drive that engagement still. One of them is called Game Breaks, and one of the products is called The Six within that category. So it's a trivia game that pops up in stream during your TV Plus viewing session. So you'll come from programming into a quick co-branded intro, get the client's logo on the screen, and then a quick 15-second trivia game that can be thematically aligned with whatever the brand is. And then it goes into a co-branded outro, again, getting the client's logo on the screen before you go into the client's creative. So we pair that all together for a 45 or 60-second experience. People get to interact with the ad using their TV remote. And we've done some studies on like where, people's eyes fall on the screen during that, and it lands on the client logos during those co-branded intros and outros. People are interacting with the games. The engagement rates are really high. So it's something we're utilizing, and we're looking to develop more interactive tools like that.
Great, perfect. We've discussed Southern New Hampshire's campaign. There's a lot of capabilities available via CTV outlets and specifically Samsung. What's next? Where do you think this outlet is headed for performance marketers over the next 12, 18 months?
Yeah, I think CTV is going to continue to solidify itself as a great opportunity for performance marketers to reach people at scale. I think there will be continue to be consolidation in the space, mergers and acquisitions happening. So there may be a few less outlets to pick from, but that will gather those audiences together in a bigger way. So while right now there's a lot of fragmentation happening, I can see that consolidating a bit, but as linear viewership declines a little bit, going to be the place to reach people in mass.
Right, and brand safe environment with you guys, obviously.
Always
And that's
a
a
brand
huge
safe
deal
environment, yeah.
These days when you talk about CTV and publishers, so it's great to hear.
Yeah.
Matt, kind of the same question for you. What would you like to see your campaigns accomplish in CTV over the next 12 months, and kind of what's your vision going forward, and how are you going to use this?
Really for us, with CTV now making up over 50% of our media buy, we look to really develop the audiences and have a better understanding of where the best response is coming from. In addition to that, we're looking at utilizing our first-party data and all of the leads that we have in our CRM tool right now, and utilizing suppression audiences, so we continue to expand our reach and reach new eyeballs that have yet to be a touch point for SNHU, and continue to grow that, and then also look at some possible retargeting options. And I think the one thing I can say, Tom and Dan kind of touched on it with linear declines, we are still seeing attrition in linear for a lot of demos. It's not going away anytime soon, though. If you're not in CTV now, I highly recommend getting your foot in the door, reaching out to Dan to have that conversation on how he can help assist with your business, because it's only going to be, the wave occurred already, and now we're just getting it to flow through. So everyone should be at least dabbling in the space a little bit at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you've talked a little bit about the partnership, and you're having regular check-ins. Can you talk, I mean, is it quarterly, you said, I believe? I mean, can you talk a little bit about how you discuss, and I mean, without getting too deep with what you're talking about, but like, what are the key points that you usually touch on when you get together quarterly?
So we often touch on our cost per response data via Innovid. We have a very two-way street, Dan and I sharing information. And I think also with our QR code cost per leads, having informed data on that as far as ranking of where Samsung lands, and leveraging Dan's thought process of how he can better assist our business, and really dive into all of the Samsung products and continue to grow from there. Mm-hmm. And Samsung's just been such a valuable partner.
Yeah.
I try to meet with Matt as often as possible, so it was more than once a quarter.
Really?
I'm happy to,
That's
just to see the cool stuff
yeah.
on his wall behind him on our video call. I definitely always enjoy that, but he's a great partner. He's always willing to share a ton of insights that some clients may not be willing to share. Mm-hmm. And that just helps us inform what we're going to do to help optimize his campaign, which can go a long way. So we'll meet, we'll review performance. I'm always happy to hear about how we're stacking up against the competition. That's a big thing for me, because if we're falling behind, it's not going to be good news for where the campaigns are going in the future. So if I want to make sure we're aligned with what he's seeing in the marketplace, and always keep him up to date on all the tools we're developing. Our product team has been hard at work putting out performance tools, help drive lower funnel conversions. So I throw most at the wall with him. It doesn't always stick, but anything we could take advantage of, he's always receptive to my recommendations, and he's been a great partner. We go back to before Samsung and the streaming days to my linear days. So he was one of the first people I called when I got over to Samsung, and of course he picked up the phone, which I always appreciate. So that's one of the great things about the direct response performance industry, right? It's definitely more niche and more family environment. Everybody's friendly, everybody's willing to share those insights, and part of the reason I've stuck around for 15 years now.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a great point about the personal environment of this business, and it leads to the question about programmatic buying, and your guys' take on like, where is this balance going to end up being between auto bid buying, programmatic buying, and the day-to-day personal relationships that have been built in this industry. I mean, I know this is going off script for us here a little bit, but it's like, where do you kind of see this landing? There's such an importance to the relationships here. Dan, you first, then maybe you, Matt.
Yeah, I think it still requires that personal touch, regardless of how the buying is being executed. Mm-hmm. There's still going to be insights that need to be shared. There's still going to be new products that can be taken advantage of. So even if you're running the campaign that way, mm-hmm. you're still going to have to touch base with the person and, mm-hmm. see where things are going and how competition, mm-hmm. you're stacking up against the competition. Mm-hmm. So even though it may be a little bit easier and hands-off, there's still got to be two humans on either side. I used to joke, I work with Rich Rodriguez here, and we used to work together at NBC, and I used to say when programmatic was popping up, what's programmatic, and does that mean we're all going to lose our jobs? And he'd be like, no, just learn it. It's still going to take a human touch, and you're going to be fine, and that's what I did, and here we are. Mm-hmm.
And for us, we're a little unique as a brand. We worked currently strictly on direct insertion order. We do not work in the programmatic space, and it's really because we do want those relationships and connecting with Dan. Like he said, we meet quarterly to go over the overview, but we talk like 3 times a week.
Right.
But with that, working with the direct insertion order as well puts us right at the top of the waterfall where the stream of inventory is the heaviest, and there tends to be better opportunities across many publishers where they may not release certain products to the programmatic space. So you could be missing out on some premium inventory content that would be very relevant for your advertiser. So starting with direct IO for us has been a great process. And with the communication, we very rarely run into delivery issues, which is so critical for any brand, because if you're not delivering impressions, you're not delivering leads.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we rifled through that pretty quickly. We can turn to the audience for some questions. If it's okay, I'm probably going to have to restate the question because we don't have a mic runner today since I'm up here. So, Long, you go first.
So for linear, we do plan on monthly cadence using recency data. So historical data, because of the attrition in linear, it makes it very difficult to look at audience sizes from a year ago. We look really more closely on the last month or two based on Nielsen data. And then with that, as we ingest our post logs weekly and have that data set come available about 5 days after the last week, we are making any optimizations if there's major outliers. But with that, we plan so consistently. I've been doing this for 5+ years now for SNHU. We have a very good roadmap on what's working and what's not, and we're able to lay out a foundation that works very well for us. So we're one of the few in the industry that often does not send out cancellation notices because we want to see the data develop and not make knee-jerk moves.
Makes sense. Anyone else? You can take the mic.
So for the purposes of campaign optimization, how quickly is your attribution data refreshed? So you can, is it daily, is it weekly? How quickly do you have access to the data to work around and optimize around what you're seeing?
Sure. So with linear, it is about 5 days after the close of a week. We have to bring in post logs, have that spike algorithm come into play based on the airing times. And then because the OTT side, the CTV side is deterministic, we tend to have that within 2 or 3 days coming in for us.
Yeah, using our conversion reporting, we can turn that data around in about the same time frame. It's fairly quick.
Other questions? Got one back there.
Hey, so I have someone I work with, and he does all higher ed. And so I help to support him on the more performance side. A lot of his schools are asking for Meta for the younger age, and then also TikTok for the younger. So my question is, how are you diversifying your media spend from CTV in comparison to other platforms?
So we do have a very robust in-house digital team as well. And with that, our entire social team, they come close to matching what we do on the mass media side as far as their presence in the marketplace. Social, though, I will say is a smaller piece. It's very honed in and refined, where we dive much more deeply into those audiences and where the response may be coming from. And much of our side works within affiliate marketing as well, where they're working with various partners to drive lead volume there. And really utilizing what we do on the mass media side, while we're still performance, we are inherently creating a brand based on the scale of our presence in the marketplace.
Anyone else? All right, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.